going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2 and another defense spotlight. So one more straw poll on Twitter done, and the Dryad wins again. Today we're going to talk about the Hornet's Nest, or the bees as we all love to call them. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop right on in and get started. Now first off, jumping right to it, without a doubt my favorite combination for the Hornet's Nest is a medallion with deadly strikes, power transfer, and defense critical damage. Now, prior to getting a Chaos 7 quality medallion, you are probably going to want to drop defense critical damage and go with defense rate instead. However, once you get a quality Chaos 7 piece, you can get that attack rate down pretty low. The quickest it will go is an attack every 0.3 seconds. However, without using defense rate, with a Chaos 7 relic, you can get it down to 0.34, 0.35, as you see here. Now, as with all defenses, you're going to get a little bit more consistency out of using medallion. However, crit is a massive aspect of the game, and you can't ignore it. So if you don't have a medallion to use, you can use a mark if you're up to the 30% crit damage, or 30% crit chance, pardon me. And with the mark, you're going to want to basically follow the same route. Now, as you see in this mark, I've got defense rate, deadly strikes, and defense crit damage. With the medallion, we're at 619,000 DPS. If we switch it over to that mark, that's going to take us to 557. It would actually go up a little bit if I dropped out that defense rate and put in power transfer instead. However, it's not going to meet where you get with the medallion at the 619. Now, the shards I like to use, and in my opinion, what are two required shards for the build, are deadly strikes and power transfer. You guys probably see a pattern here, as these are, without a doubt, some of the most powerful shards in the game, and are used by me personally in almost every single defense. Now, as a third, you've got some options. Now, I get the biggest numbers using defense crit damage at the 619. However, you can swap this bad boy out with a lot of different choices. You can use, say, Vampiric Empowerment. Going to get you up to about 591, so not quite as good as the defense crit damage, however pretty darn decent still. You can even drop Vampiric and go with, say, Destruction, and you're still going to be up at about 576, so you're still going to do pretty decent damage depending on which shard you have. Now, as I mentioned, I always go with the defense crit damage, as I'm just having a hard time finding a better combination than those shards in the build. Now, a little something about the bees. It's similar to a few other aspects in the game, where if you play actively on the Dryad, you're going to get a little bit more power out of them, as by default, the Hornet's Nest has 2 bees that come out of it, and if you switch to Corrupt form, we get a third bee. So if you're playing the Dryad actively and you are in Corrupt form, you're going to get an additional bee per Hornet's Nest, which can make quite the difference. Then, of course, if you switch back out of Corrupt form, that third bee just disappears. Now, as far as the Ascension goes with the Hornet's Nest, just like every other builder in the game, you're going to want to start off with defense crit chance. I know you all are tired of hearing me say this, however, there is nothing more powerful in Dungeon Defenders 2 than defense crit, and hero crit for that matter. And that crit is not going to apply if your crit chance is not high enough. So the first thing you want to do is max out your defense crit chance, then go into the range gambit, and then right into defense crit damage from there. In the defense category, same as most defenses, you're going to go defense speed right out of the gates, and then go into Hornet's Nest damage. You shouldn't have to apply anything to the Hornet's Nest health, as with a lot of defenses out there, assuming you're using a legendary relic. If you're using a legendary relic, of course you're going to have all 4 stats, and it's going to have enough defense health on it to get you through the task at hand. So defense speed, then Hornet's Nest damage. Of course, the offense category doesn't matter. As I mentioned, the bees are powerful, particularly if you like playing the Dryad, and when you play the Dryad actively, of course, you get just massive amounts of burst damage, which makes things very easy burning down rollers. The Hornet's Nest is actually so strong the bees and trees build are definitely a thing. They're back. You know, they used to be a bit of a meta for quite some time in the early access period of the game, and bees and trees are definitely once again effective with the last patch. One other important thing to note is, particularly in Chaos 7, we all know it's about flyers, and the Hornet's nest does hit ground and flying mobs, which is just awesome. So it handles both classifications of enemies, ground and flyers, for massive amounts of damage. If the tree was only a little better as the blockade, trees and bees would be used just rampantly everywhere. So that will do it for now. Thank you for watching. Click that like button and please subscribe to the channel, and I will be back soon with some more Dungeon Defenders 2. Thanks again. We'll see ya.